Hello, I'm Mayor Brian Franklin, and I would like to introduce you to the wonderful town of Blythewood, South Carolina. Those who live here take great pride in the history and culture of this town, and I would love to tell you a little about who we are and what we have to offer. Blythewood was founded by Native Americans who settled here long ago, naming this area Doko, which means gathering place. And that's exactly what this town is all about. Located just off of Interstate 77, just 15 miles north of Columbia and an hour south of Charlotte, Blythewood is a town rich with tradition, community, and activities, hosting large events year-round that draws crowds from all over the region and across the state, while also serving as a home to many industries and small businesses. Blythewood hosts numerous town events each year to support the people of this community and display the town's history, recreational activities, and supporting the arts scene. From the large celebrations of Black History Month, the 4th of July, Memorial Day, and Veterans Day, to the annual Blythewood Rodeo, Ribfest, Doko Film Festival, Oktoberfest, and of course, our annual town Christmas tree lighting event. Blythewood has something unique to offer every single month. You might come here for the sporting activities such as the championship caliber University of South Carolina equestrian team, the pristine Cobblestone Park golf course, and our top-notch high school athletic teams and recreation centers. Or you might come to spend the afternoon in our beautiful Doko Meadows Park, where we often host outdoor concerts, a weekly farmers market, and plenty of activities for the kids. Stay for dinner in one of our local restaurants or grab a quick bite to eat at one of the many chain restaurants you will find in our main road before heading home. Blythewood is a growing town, and we offer many benefits to businesses looking for a new home. We have recently partnered with Richland County to set aside 1,350 acres to be used as a light industrial park to attract industry-leading businesses and technical jobs to the town. Blythewood has a unique ability to attract larger industries looking for space to build while still offering many opportunities for small local businesses and eateries to thrive. We have a big vision by anyone's standards with a detailed, comprehensive 10-year plan to get us there. We welcome you to discover Blythewood and enjoy our warm, friendly attitude toward life and each other. Whether you're interested in recreation, business, or finding a new home, we thank you for your interest in Blythewood, and remember, you're always welcome. Hello, I'm Mayor Brian Franklin, and I would like to introduce you to the wonderful town of Blythewood, South Carolina. Those who live here take great pride in the history and culture of this town, and I would love to tell you a little about who we are and what we have to offer. Blythewood was founded by Native Americans who settled here long ago, naming this area Doko, which means gathering place. And that's exactly what this town is all about. Located just off of Interstate 77, just 15 miles north of Columbia and an hour south of Charlotte, Blythewood is a town rich with tradition, community, and activities, hosting large events year-round that draws crowds from all over the region and across the state, while also serving as a home to many industries and small businesses. Blythewood hosts numerous town events each year to support the people of this community and display the town's history, recreational activities, and supporting the arts scene. From the large celebrations of Black History Month, the 4th of July, Memorial Day, and Veterans Day, to the annual Blythewood Rodeo, Rib Fest, Doko Film Festival, Oktoberfest, and of course, our annual town Christmas tree lighting event. Blythewood has something unique to offer every single month. You might come here for the sporting activities such as the championship caliber University of South Carolina equestrian team, the pristine Cobblestone Park golf course, and our top-notch high school athletic teams and recreation centers. Or you might come to spend the afternoon in our beautiful Doko Meadows Park, where we often host outdoor concerts, a weekly farmers market, and plenty of activities for the kids. Stay for dinner in one of our local restaurants or grab a quick bite to eat at one of the many chain restaurants you will find in our main road before heading home. Blythewood is a growing town, and we offer many benefits to businesses looking for a new home. We have recently partnered with Richland County to set aside 1,350 acres to be used as a light industrial park to attract industry-leading businesses and technical jobs to the town. Blythewood has a unique ability to attract larger industries looking for space to build while still offering many opportunities for small local businesses and eateries to thrive. We have a big vision by anyone's standards with a detailed, comprehensive 10-year plan to get us there. We welcome you to discover Blythewood and enjoy our warm, friendly attitude toward life and each other. Whether you're interested in recreation, business, or finding a new home, we thank you for your interest in Blythewood, and remember, you're always welcome. Hello, I'm Mayor Brian Franklin, and I would like to introduce you to the wonderful town of Blythewood, South Carolina. Those who live here take great pride in the history and culture of this town, and I would love to tell you a little about who we are and what we have to offer. Blythewood was founded by Native Americans who settled here long ago, naming this area Doko, which means gathering place. And that's exactly what this town is all about. Located just off of Interstate 77, just 15 miles north of Columbia and an hour south of Charlotte, Blythewood is a town rich with tradition, community, and activities, hosting large events year-round that draws crowds from all over the region and across the state, while also serving as a home to many industries and small businesses. Blythewood hosts numerous town events each year to support the people of this community and display the town's history, recreational activities, and supporting the arts scene. From the large celebrations of Black History Month, the 4th of July, Memorial Day, and Veterans Day, to the annual Blythewood Rodeo, Rib Fest, Doko Film Festival, Oktoberfest, and of course, our annual town Christmas tree lighting event. Blythewood has something unique to offer every single month. You might come here for the sporting activities such as the championship caliber University of South Carolina equestrian team, the pristine Cobblestone Park golf course, and our top-notch high school athletic teams and recreation centers. Or you might come to spend the afternoon in our beautiful Doco Meadows Park, where we often host outdoor concerts, a weekly farmers market, and plenty of activities for the kids. Stay for dinner in one of our local restaurants or grab a quick bite to eat at one of the many chain restaurants you will find in our main road before heading home. Blythewood is a growing town, and we offer many benefits to businesses looking for a new home. We have recently partnered with Richland County to set aside 1,350 acres to be used as a light industrial park to attract industry-leading businesses and technical jobs to the town. Blythewood has a unique ability to attract larger industries looking for space to build while still offering many opportunities for small local businesses and eateries to thrive. We have a big vision by anyone's standards with a detailed, comprehensive 10-year plan to get us there. We welcome you to discover Blythewood and enjoy our warm, friendly attitude toward life and each other. Whether you're interested in recreation, business, or finding a new home, we thank you for your interest in Blythewood, and remember, you're always welcome. Hello, I'm Mayor Brian Franklin, and I would like to introduce you
I will call to order tonight's monthly meeting of the Blythewood Town Council. We're in the Manor, and the time is Monday, December 19, 2022. The time is 6 p.m. Mr. Hurst, please call the roll.
Councilman Brock.
I'm here.
Councilman Ballman.
Present.
Councilman Griffin.
Present.
Councilman McKenrick.
Present.
Mayor Franklin.
I'm here, thank you. And Mr. Hurst, was tonight's agenda properly posted in accordance with state law?
Yes, sir.
Thank you. Gentlemen, before we use the agenda, have a request.
Yes, Mr. Mayor. I would ask that we move item 7 from the agenda, which would be executive session, to number 3.
So 7, 8, and 9 will place number 2.
Yes, sir.
Issue with that, I'll second that motion.
Probably motion seconded to move the executive session forward in the agenda tonight after paragraph 2, appointments. Any discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. All opposed? Ayes have it. The change is made. Thank you. Please join Councilman McHenry tonight for the Pledge of Allegiance and invocation, if you would.
Please join me for a prayer. Father God, we do thank you for bringing us here safely. We thank you for the people joining us via YouTube or through the internet. We pray that you go before us in all we do and say tonight and help it be beneficial to the people of Blythewood as we try to govern under their wishes. We do thank you for this time of year when we can celebrate the birth of your Son, our Lord and Savior Jesus Christ. And just pray that those who have lost loved ones through this year and other hardships through a year that has been a difficult year, that you give them peace that passes understanding. Wrap your arms around them during this time of year. Again, thank you for all you do for us, and go before us in all we do and say. In Christ's name we pray.
Moving to council members' remarks this evening. We'll start on my left and your right, Councilman McHenry.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I will, because of the length of the agenda, keep my remarks brief. I do want to reach out and thank the Planning Commission for the joint meeting we had with them. Certainly got to enjoy the Christmas parade, as I'm sure others will remark on as well. Phil, appreciate the Chamber of Commerce putting that on. I won't rely on you for pick a day that there's no rain, but you're batting 1,000 in that category. But still, the Christmas parade came off with little rain, and the crowd was good as we walked the path. So I appreciate all the work that went into that. And obviously, we'll be discussing things further on in the agenda. One is which our new town attorney. So I certainly want to congratulate him as we appoint him and welcome him aboard. So with that, Mr. Mayor, I'll turn it over.
Thank you, sir. Councilman Griffin.
Yes, sir. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. We in the season for loving and giving and reflecting back on life for 2022. And I definitely want to wish each and every one of you present, each and every one watching on YouTube, a happy and safe holiday, Christmas and New Year. So enjoy the time with family, reflect on it, as I will, and I'm sure my colleagues here will do the same. Looking forward to 2023. I believe we have a lot of exciting things coming up for 23, so looking forward to seeing each and every one of you back here. That'll be it for me, Mr. Mayor.
All right, thank you, sir. Mayor Pro Tem Baldwin.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I'll be brief also, but ever since Thanksgiving hit, it's been really busy around here with all the events going on, and I appreciate what the Chamber has done to make them happen. But I want to thank you for your attendance Saturday. If people didn't know, Saturday, December the 17th, was Reefs Across America in thousands of locations around the country. Men and women gathered with their children to honor our veterans and their service and sacrifice to our country. Well, right here in Sandy Level, at Sandy Level Baptist Church, we were able to place wreaths on 120 veterans' graves. We had a huge turnout. WIS was there. Thought that turned out really well. I was glad that they showed it, promoted it, because we're not as big as most areas with thousands of volunteers, but we had a huge crowd, and each veteran buried there, his name was spoken. And as we learned and to teach our children, as long as we speak our veterans' names, their memory will live on. So I want to thank you for your attendance there and everybody else for attending. It was a moving event. So thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Councilman Brown.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Pardon me. I'd like to welcome everyone present, everyone online, and those that will watch this video at some point in the future. To echo some of my colleagues' comments, I did see Councilman Ballman's pretty face on WIS sitting at Lizard's Thicket eating breakfast on Sunday morning, so he did the town well. Village Church had their Christmas concert last night. Very well done. They always put on a very good show. Little rainy Christmas parade, Chris Kendall Market, and the Historical Society decorated their museum. It's very nice if you haven't had a chance to go by and check it out. It's very nice. We do have a busy agenda tonight and a couple of items that are near and dear to my heart. So with that, I'll turn over whatever time I have left to Mr. Mayor. Thank you.
Thank you. Moving to Mayor's remarks. Happy holidays, everyone. Happy New Year. I hope you have a safe one. As Councilman Rubin said, reflect back on last year and make next year better. Wonderful tree lighting ceremony again. Probably one of the biggest turnouts we've had. Fantastic. And the lights are just beautiful in the park. Parade, for the first time, expanded it. Had a different route, but I think it was successful that people have more of an opportunity to spread out and, of course, enjoy the park as well as part of the parade. So, big win there. Thank everyone for participating in that and all the floats that signed up for it. Chris Kendall Mark, the first one, the chamber sponsored, right at the end of that parade. A lot of vendors, and the ones that I spoke to can't wait till next year. Now that they see what it's like, they're going to tell their friends and families about it. We're going to get more vendors. It'll be a great opportunity. If you didn't have a chance to come out to that, please put that on your calendar for next year. A lot of nice handcrafted goods and artsmanship goes into that. And take away some keepsakes. Mayor Pro Tem Ballman talked about Race Across America. Very well done at Sandy level. We're going to encourage other churches in our community, much like we do on Memorial Day when we put flags and all the veterans and across all the churches in our local area. We could get everyone to do the Race Across America. They do it at Fort Jackson National Cemetery as well every year, and it's just a great event. And why do they do it in the middle of December? It's the hustle and bustle time of the year. We have Spring Memorial Day. We have a Fall Veterans Day. But when you do it during the Christmas season, it really has an impact on the families of those veterans who have passed away following their service. So thank you, Mayor Pro Tem and your church, for sponsoring that. Well done. And hopefully we'll get the word out and expand that for next year. So that'll conclude my remarks. I'll turn it over for the town administrator report. Mr. Williamson.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Actually, I have a few things to report. Our playground shade structure is being installed as we speak, I believe, and but we will keep that playground area closed until we can get that proper playground mulch back after that installation. We are expecting to have the artificial turf installed sometime in January, hopefully. That's what they told me. Just a couple reports from our boards. Last week, the Board Architecture Review approved a certificate of appropriateness for the design of some proposed townhomes at 158 Langford Road, and a modification to the building design of Frank's Car Wash to use a stain to match the approved brick colors. BAR also gave approval of a certificate of appropriateness for the replacement of the Sandy Level Baptist churches and windows, and deferred a decision as it requested more information on its request to replace its sidewalk. This mic is out.
Nope.
Board of Zoning Appeals heard a request for a special exception for a conservation subdivision on 91 acres, 11,000 block of Wilson Boulevard, and deferred a decision until the applicant could provide a proposed conservation easement. And a workshop meeting between the Board of Zoning Appeals and the applicant is expected sometime in early 2023. Our fiscal year 22 audit is complete, and they would have been here tonight, but they just couldn't make it on this particular night. But they will be presenting the audit report at the January regular meeting on the. I don't want you to miss anything. So just a reminder, as I have via email, January 6th is the Town Council's goal-setting session with the Municipal Association near the morning of January 6th here in Doco Manor. Town Hall will be closed December 23rd, 26th, and 27th, as well as January 2nd, the day after New Year's. And finally, I just want to thank Mayor and Council here years in for all the support that y'all give to staff as we carry out your intent for the management of the town. And I look forward to working closely with all y'all in 2023 as it promises to be a very busy but very productive year. So thank you all.
Thank you, sir. Any questions, council members? Part I tonight is approval of minutes, the joint Town Council Planning Commission meeting on November 14th, 2022, the Town Council meeting on November 21st, 2022, and the special call meeting of December 9th, 2022. Gentlemen, you have those in your packet before you. Any comments?
Make a motion to approve all three of them.
Second.
Probably motion and seconded to approve the three meetings minutes. Any conversations? All in favor, signify by saying aye. Aye. All opposed? The ayes have it. The minutes are approved. Thank you. Part two tonight, appointments. The appointment of our new town attorney, Mr. Pete Novazola. Mr. Williamson.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. So council voted last meeting to move forward with the agreement with Mr. Balthazar, and so we did that. He signed immediately, and he's here tonight. So
the floor is yours. Welcome to Blythewood.
Thank you and welcome.
Welcome. Moving to part three tonight, executive session per South Carolina section 30-4-70. Part A, discussion of proposed purchase of property, and part B, discussion of negotiations incident to proposed contractual agreements. The town administrator. We have a motion going to executive session.
Motion.
second.
Probably motion seconded to go into executive session. Any discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. All opposed? The ayes have it.
Go in the small room.
Yeah, small room.
Hello, I'm Mayor Brian Franklin, and I would like to introduce you to the wonderful town of Blythewood, South Carolina. Those who live here take great pride in the history and culture of this town, and I would love to tell you a little about who we are and what we have to offer. Blythewood was founded by Native Americans who settled here long ago, naming this area Doko, which means gathering place. And that's exactly what this town is all about. Located just off of Interstate 77, just 15 miles north of Columbia and an hour south of Charlotte, Blythewood is a town rich with tradition, community, and activities, hosting large events year-round that draws crowds from all over the region and across the state, while also serving as a home to many industries and small businesses. Blythewood hosts numerous town events each year to support the people of this community and display the town's history, recreational activities, and supporting the arts scene. From the large celebrations of Black History Month, the 4th of July, Memorial Day, and Veterans Day, to the annual Blythewood Rodeo, Ribfest, Doko Film Festival, Oktoberfest, and of course, our annual town Christmas tree lighting event. Blythewood has something unique to offer every single month. You might come here for the sporting activities such as the championship caliber University of South Carolina equestrian team, the pristine Cobblestone Park golf course, and our top-notch high school athletic teams and recreation centers. Or you might come to spend the afternoon in our beautiful Doko Meadows Park, where we often host outdoor concerts, a weekly farmers market, and plenty of activities for the kids. Stay for dinner in one of our local restaurants or grab a quick bite to eat at one of the many chain restaurants you will find in our main road before heading home. Blythewood is a growing town, and we offer many benefits to businesses looking for a new home. We have recently partnered with Richland County to set aside 1,350 acres to be used as a light industrial park to attract industry-leading businesses and technical jobs to the town. Blythewood has a unique ability to attract larger industries looking for space to build while still offering many opportunities for small local businesses and eateries to thrive. We have a big vision by anyone's standards with a detailed, comprehensive 10-year plan to get us there. We welcome you to discover Blythewood and enjoy our warm, friendly attitude toward life and each other. Whether you're interested in recreation, business, or finding a new home, we thank you for your interest in Blythewood, and remember, you're always welcome. Hello, I'm Mayor Brian Franklin, and I would like to introduce you to the wonderful town of Blythewood, South Carolina. Those who live here take great pride in the history and culture of this town, and I would love to tell you a little about who we are and what we have to offer. Blythewood was founded by Native Americans who settled here long ago, naming this area Doko, which means gathering place. And that's exactly what this town is all about. Located just off of Interstate 77, just 15 miles north of Columbia and an hour south of Charlotte, Blythewood is a town rich with tradition, community, and activities, hosting large events year-round that draws crowds from all over the region and across the state, while also serving as a home to many industries and small businesses. Blythewood hosts numerous town events each year to support the people of this community and display the town's history, recreational activities, and supporting the arts scene. From the large celebrations of Black History Month, the 4th of July, Memorial Day, and Veterans Day, to the annual Blythewood Rodeo, Ribfest, Doko Film Festival, Oktoberfest, and of course, our annual town Christmas tree lighting event. Blythewood has something unique to offer every single month. You might come here for the sporting activities such as the championship caliber University of South Carolina equestrian team, the pristine Cobblestone Park golf course, and our top-notch high school athletic teams and recreation centers. Or you might come to spend the afternoon in our beautiful Doko Meadows Park, where we often host outdoor concerts, a weekly farmers market, and plenty of activities for the kids. Stay for dinner in one of our local restaurants or grab a quick bite to eat at one of the many chain restaurants you will find in our main road before heading home. Blythewood is a growing town, and we offer many benefits to businesses looking for a new home. We have recently partnered with Richland County to set aside 1,350 acres to be used as a light industrial park to attract industry-leading businesses and technical jobs to the town. Blythewood has a unique ability to attract larger industries looking for space to build while still offering many opportunities for small local businesses and eateries to thrive. We have a big vision by anyone's standards with a detailed, comprehensive 10-year plan to get us there. We welcome you to discover Blythewood and enjoy our warm, friendly attitude toward life and each other. Whether you're interested in recreation, business, or finding a new home, we thank you for your interest in Blythewood, and remember, you're always welcome. Hello, I'm Mayor Brian Franklin, and I would like to introduce you to the wonderful town of Blythewood, South Carolina. Those who live here take great pride in the history and culture of this town, and I would love to tell you a little about who we are and what we have to offer. Blythewood was founded by Native Americans who settled here long ago, naming this area Doko, which means gathering place. And that's exactly what this town is all about. Located just off of Interstate 77, just 15 miles north of Columbia and an hour south of Charlotte, Blythewood is a town rich with tradition, community, and activities, hosting large events year-round that draws crowds from all over the region and across the state, while also serving as a home to many industries and small businesses. Blythewood hosts numerous town events each year to support the people of this community and display the town's history, recreational activities, and supporting the arts scene. From the large celebrations of Black History Month, the 4th of July, Memorial Day, and Veterans Day, to the annual Blythewood Rodeo, Rib Fest, Doko Film Festival, Oktoberfest, and of course, our annual town Christmas tree lighting event. Blythewood has something unique to offer every single month. You might come here for the sporting activities such as the championship caliber University of South Carolina equestrian team, the pristine Cobblestone Park golf course, and our top-notch high school athletic teams and recreation centers. Or you might come to spend the afternoon in our beautiful Doko Meadows Park, where we often host outdoor concerts, a weekly farmers market, and plenty of activities for the kids. Stay for dinner in one of our local restaurants or grab a quick bite to eat at one of the many chain restaurants you will find in our main road before heading home. Blythewood is a growing town, and we offer many benefits to businesses looking for a new home. We have recently partnered with Richland County to set aside 1,350 acres to be used as a light industrial park to attract industry-leading businesses and technical jobs to the town. Blythewood has a unique ability to attract larger industries looking for space to build while still offering many opportunities for small local businesses and eateries to thrive. We have a big vision by anyone's standards with a detailed, comprehensive 10-year plan to get us there. We welcome you to discover Blythewood and enjoy our warm, friendly attitude toward life and each other. Whether you're interested in recreation, business, or finding a new home, we thank you for your interest in Blythewood, and remember, you're always welcome. Hello, I'm Mayor Brian Franklin, and I would like to introduce you to the wonderful town of Blythewood, South Carolina. Those who live here take great pride in the history and culture of this town, and I would love to tell you a little about who we are and what we have to offer. Blythewood was founded by Native Americans who settled here long ago, naming this area Doko, which means gathering place. That's exactly what this town is all about. Located just off of Interstate 77, just 15 miles north of Columbia and an hour south of Charlotte, Blythewood is a town rich with tradition, community, and activities, hosting large events year-round that draws crowds from all over the region and across the state, while also serving as a home to many industries and small businesses. Blythewood hosts numerous town events each year to support the people of this community and display the town's history, recreational activities, and supporting the arts scene. From the large celebrations of Black History Month, the 4th of July, Memorial Day, and Veterans Day, to the annual Blythewood Rodeo, Ribfest, Doco Film Festival, Oktoberfest, and of course, our annual town Christmas tree lighting event. Blythewood has something unique to offer every single month. You might come here for the sporting activities such as the championship caliber University of South Carolina equestrian team, the pristine Cobblestone Park golf course, and our top-notch high school athletic teams and recreation centers. Or you might come to spend the afternoon in our beautiful Doco Meadows Park, where we often host outdoor concerts, a weekly farmers market, and plenty of activities for the kids. Stay for dinner in one of our local restaurants or grab a quick bite to eat at one of the many chain restaurants you will find in our main road before heading home. Blythewood is a growing town, and we offer many benefits to businesses looking for a new home. We have recently partnered with Richland County to set aside 1,350 acres to be used as a light industrial park to attract industry-leading businesses and technical jobs to the town. Blythewood has a unique ability to attract larger industries looking for space to build while still offering many opportunities for small local businesses and eateries to thrive. We have a big vision by anyone's standards with a detailed, comprehensive 10-year plan to get us there. We welcome you to discover Blythewood and enjoy our warm, friendly attitude toward life and each other. Whether you're interested in recreation, business, or finding a new home, we thank you for your interest in Blythewood, and remember, you're always welcome. Hello, I'm Mayor Brian Franklin, and I would like to introduce you to the wonderful town of Blythewood, South Carolina. Those who live here take great pride in the history and culture of this town, and I would love to tell you a little about who we are and what we have to offer. Blythewood was founded by Native Americans who settled here long ago, naming this area Doco, which means gathering place. And that's exactly what this town is all about. Located just off of Interstate 77, just 15 miles north of Columbia and an hour south of Charlotte, Blythewood is a town rich with tradition, community, and activities, hosting large events year-round that draws crowds from all over the region and across the state, while also serving as a home to many industries and small businesses. Blythewood hosts numerous town events each year to support the people of this community and display the town's history, recreational activities, and supporting the arts scene. From the large celebrations of Black History Month, the 4th of July, Memorial Day, and Veterans Day, to the annual Blythewood Rodeo, Ribfest, Doco Film Festival, Oktoberfest, and of course, our annual town Christmas tree lighting event. Blythewood has something unique to offer every single month. You might come here for the sporting activities such as the championship caliber University of South Carolina equestrian team, the pristine cobblestone park golf course, and our top-notch high school athletic teams and recreation centers. Or you might come to spend the afternoon in our beautiful Doco Meadows Park, where we often host outdoor concerts, a weekly farmers market, and plenty of activities for the kids. Stay for dinner in one of our local restaurants or grab a quick bite to eat at one of the many chain restaurants you will find in our main road before heading home. Blythewood is a growing town, and we offer many benefits to businesses looking for a new home. We have recently partnered with Richland County to set aside 1,350 acres to be used as a light industrial park to attract industry-leading businesses and technical jobs to the town. Blythewood has a unique ability to attract larger industries looking for space to build while still offering many opportunities for small local businesses and eateries to thrive. We have a big vision by anyone's standards with a detailed, comprehensive 10-year plan to get us there. We welcome you to discover Blythewood and enjoy our warm, friendly attitude toward life and each other. Whether you're interested in recreation, business, or finding a new home, we thank you for your interest in Blythewood, and remember, you're always welcome. Hello, I'm Mayor Brian Franklin, and I would like to introduce you to the wonderful town of Blythewood, South Carolina. Those who live here take great pride in the history and culture of this town, and I would love to tell you a little about who we are and what we have to offer. Blythewood was founded by Native Americans who settled here long ago, naming this area Doco, which means gathering place. That's exactly what this town is all about. Located just off of Interstate 77, just 15 miles north of Columbia and an hour south of Charlotte, Blythewood is a town rich with tradition, community, and activities, hosting large events year-round that draws crowds from all over the region and across the state, while also serving as a home to many industries and small businesses. Blythewood hosts numerous town events each year to support the people of this community and display the town's history, recreational activities, and supporting the arts scene. From the large celebrations of Black History Month, the 4th of July, Memorial Day, and Veterans Day, to the annual Blythewood Rodeo, Rib Fest, Doco Film Festival, Oktoberfest, and of course, our annual town Christmas tree lighting event. Blythewood has something unique to offer every single month. You might come here for the sporting activities such as the championship caliber University of South Carolina equestrian team, the pristine cobblestone park golf course, and our top-notch high school athletic teams and recreation centers. Or you might come to spend the afternoon in our beautiful Doco Meadows Park, where we often host outdoor concerts, a weekly farmers market, and plenty of activities for the kids. Stay for dinner in one of our local restaurants or grab a quick bite to eat at one of the many chain restaurants you will find in our main road before heading home. Blythewood is a growing town, and we offer many benefits to businesses looking for a new home. We have recently partnered with Richland County to set aside 1,350 acres to be used as a light industrial park to attract industry-leading businesses and technical jobs to the town. Blythewood has a unique ability to attract larger industries looking for space to build while still offering many opportunities for small local businesses and eateries to thrive. We have a big vision by anyone's standards with a detailed, comprehensive 10-year plan to get us there. We welcome you to discover Blythewood and enjoy our warm, friendly attitude toward life and each other. Whether you're interested in recreation, business, or finding a new home, we thank you for your interest in Blythewood, and remember, you're always welcome. Hello, I'm Mayor Brian Franklin, and I would like to introduce you to the wonderful town of Blythewood, South Carolina. Those who live here take great pride in the history and culture of this town, and I would love to tell you a little about who we are and what we have to offer. Blythewood was founded by Native Americans who settled here long ago, naming this area Doko, which means gathering place. That's exactly what this town is all about. Located just off of Interstate 77, just 15 miles north of Columbia and an hour south of Charlotte, Blythewood is a town rich with tradition, community, and activities, hosting large events year-round that draws crowds from all over the region and across the state, while also serving as a home to many industries and small businesses. Blythewood hosts numerous town events each year to support the people of this community and display the town's history, recreational activities, and supported the arts scene. From the large celebrations of Black History Month, the 4th of July, Memorial Day, and Veterans Day, to the annual Blythewood Rodeo, Rib Fest, Doko Film Festival, Oktoberfest, and of course, our annual town Christmas tree lighting event. Blythewood has something unique to offer every single month. You might come here for the sporting activities such as the championship caliber University of South Carolina equestrian team, the pristine Cobblestone Park golf course, and our top-notch high school athletic teams and recreation centers. Or you might come to spend the afternoon in our beautiful Doko Meadows Park, where we often host outdoor concerts, a weekly farmers market, and plenty of activities for the kids. Stay for dinner in one of our local restaurants or grab a quick bite to eat at one of the many chain restaurants you will find in our main road before heading home. Blythewood is a growing town, and we offer many benefits to businesses looking for a new home. We have recently partnered with Richland County to set aside 1,350 acres to be used as a light industrial park to attract industry-leading businesses and technical jobs to the town. Blythewood has a unique ability to attract larger industries looking for space to build while still offering many opportunities for small local businesses and eateries to thrive. We have a big vision by anyone's standards with a detailed, comprehensive 10-year plan to get us there. We welcome you to discover Blythewood and enjoy our warm, friendly attitude toward life and each other. Whether you're interested in recreation, business, or finding a new home, We thank you for your interest in Blythewood, and remember, you're always welcome. Hello, I'm Mayor Brian Franklin, and I would like to introduce you to the wonderful town of Blythewood, South Carolina. Those who live here take great pride in the history and culture of this town, and I would love to tell you a little about who we are and what we have to offer. Blythewood was founded by Native Americans who settled here long ago, naming this area Doko, which means gathering place. That's exactly what this town is all about. Located just off of Interstate 77, just 15 miles north of Columbia and an hour south of Charlotte, Blythewood is a town rich with tradition, community, and activities, hosting large events year-round that draws crowds from all over the region and across the state, while also serving as a home to many industries and small businesses. Blythewood hosts numerous town events each year to support the people of this community and display the town's history, recreational activities, and supporting the arts scene. From the large celebrations of Black History Month, the 4th of July, Memorial Day, and Veterans Day, to the annual Blythewood Rodeo, Rib Fest, Doko Film Festival, Oktoberfest, and of course, our annual town Christmas tree lighting event. Blythewood has something unique to offer every single month. You might come here for the sporting activities such as the championship caliber University of South Carolina equestrian team, the pristine Cobblestone Park golf course, and our top-notch high school athletic teams and recreation centers. Or you might come to spend the afternoon in our beautiful Doko Meadows Park, where we often host outdoor concerts, a weekly farmers market, and plenty of activities for the kids. Stay for dinner in one of our local restaurants or grab a quick bite to eat at one of the many chain restaurants you will find in our main road before heading home. Blythewood is a growing town, and we offer many benefits to businesses looking for a new home. We have recently partnered with Richland County to set aside 1,350 acres to be used as a light industrial park to attract industry-leading businesses and technical jobs to the town. Blythewood has a unique ability to attract larger industries looking for space to build while still offering many opportunities for small local businesses and eateries to thrive. We have a big vision by anyone's standards with a detailed, comprehensive 10-year plan to get us there. We welcome you to discover Blythewood and enjoy our warm, friendly attitude toward life and each other. Whether you're interested in recreation, business, or finding a new home, we thank you for your interest in Blythewood, and remember, you're always welcome. Hello, I'm Mayor Brian Franklin, and I would like to introduce you to the wonderful town of Blythewood, South Carolina. Those who live here take great pride in the history and culture of this town, and I would love to tell you a little about who we are and what we have to offer. Blythewood was founded by Native Americans who settled here long ago, naming this area Doko, which means gathering place. That's exactly what this town is all about. Located just off of Interstate 77, just 15 miles north of Columbia and an hour south of Charlotte, Blythewood is a town rich with tradition, community, and activities, hosting large events year-round that draws crowds from all over the region and across the state, while also serving as a home to many industries and small businesses. Blythewood hosts numerous town events each year to support the people of this community and display the town's history, recreational activities, and support of the arts scene. From the large celebrations of Black History Month, the 4th of July, Memorial Day, and Veterans Day, to the annual Blythewood Rodeo, Rib Fest, Doko Film Festival, Oktoberfest, and of course, our annual town Christmas tree lighting event. Blythewood has something unique to offer every single month. You might come here for the sporting activities such as the championship caliber University of South Carolina equestrian team, the pristine Cobblestone Park golf course, and our top-notch high school athletic teams and recreation centers. Or you might come to spend the afternoon in our beautiful Doko Meadows Park, where we often host outdoor concerts, a weekly farmers market, and plenty of activities for the kids. Stay for dinner in one of our local restaurants or grab a quick bite to eat at one of the many chain restaurants you will find in our main road before heading home. Blythewood is a growing town, and we offer many benefits to businesses looking for a new home. We have recently partnered with Richland County to set aside 1,350 acres to be used as a light industrial park to attract industry-leading businesses and technical jobs to the town. Blythewood has a unique ability to attract larger industries looking for space to build while still offering many opportunities for small local businesses and eateries to thrive. We have a big vision by anyone's standards with a detailed, comprehensive 10-year plan to get us there. We welcome you to discover Blythewood and enjoy our warm, friendly attitude toward life and each other. Whether you're interested in recreation, business, or finding a new home, we thank you for your interest in Blythewood, and remember, you're always welcome. Hello, I'm Mayor Brian Franklin, and I would like to introduce you to the wonderful town of Blythewood, South Carolina. Those who live here take great pride in the history and culture of this town, and I would love to tell you a little about who we are and what we have to offer. Blythewood was founded by Native Americans who settled here long ago, naming this area Doko, which means gathering place. That's exactly what this town is all about. Located just off of Interstate 77, just 15 miles north of Columbia and an hour south of Charlotte, Blythewood is a town rich with tradition, community, and activities, hosting large events year-round that draws crowds from all over the region and across the state, while also serving as a home to many industries and small businesses. Blythewood hosts numerous town events each year to support the people of this community and display the town's history, recreational activities, and supporting the arts scene. From the large celebrations of Black History Month, the 4th of July, Memorial Day, and Veterans Day, to the annual Blythewood Rodeo, Ribfest, Doco Film Festival, Oktoberfest, and of course, our annual town Christmas tree lighting event. Blythewood has something unique to offer every single month. You might come here for the sporting activities such as the championship caliber University of South Carolina equestrian team, the pristine Cobblestone Park golf course, and our top-notch high school athletic teams and recreation centers. Or you might come to spend the afternoon in our beautiful Doco Meadows Park, where we often host outdoor concerts, a weekly farmers market, and plenty of activities for the kids. Stay for dinner in one of our local restaurants or grab a quick bite to eat at one of the many chain restaurants you will find in our main road before heading home. Blythewood is a growing town, and we offer many benefits to businesses looking for a new home. We have recently partnered with Richland County to set aside 1,350 acres to be used as a light industrial park to attract industry-leading businesses and technical jobs to the town. Blythewood has a unique ability to attract larger industries looking for space to build while still offering many opportunities for small local businesses and eateries to thrive. We have a big vision by anyone's standards with a detailed, comprehensive 10-year plan to get us there. We welcome you to discover Blythewood and enjoy our warm, friendly attitude toward life and each other. Whether you're interested in recreation, business, or finding a new home, we thank you for your interest in Blythewood, and remember, you're always welcome. Hello, I'm Mayor Brian Franklin, and I would like to introduce you to the wonderful town of Blythewood, South Carolina. Those who live here take great pride in the history and culture of this town, and I would love to tell you a little about who we are and what we have to offer. Blythewood was founded by Native Americans who settled here long ago, naming this area Doco, which means gathering place. And that's exactly what this town is all about. Located just off of Interstate 77, just 15 miles north of Columbia and an hour south of Charlotte, Blythewood is a town rich with tradition, community, and activities, hosting large events year-round that draws crowds from all over the region and across the state, while also serving as a home to many industries and small businesses. Blythewood hosts numerous town events each year to support the people of this community and display the town's history, recreational activities, and supporting the arts scene. From the large celebrations of Black History Month, the 4th of July, Memorial Day, and Veterans Day, to the annual Blythewood Rodeo, Ribfest, Doco Film Festival, Oktoberfest, and of course, our annual town Christmas tree lighting event. Blythewood has something unique to offer every single month. You might come here for the sporting activities such as the championship caliber University of South Carolina equestrian team, the pristine Cobblestone Park Golf Course, and our top-notch high school athletic teams and recreation centers. Or you might come to spend the afternoon in our beautiful Doco Meadows Park, where we often host outdoor concerts, a weekly farmers market, and plenty of activities for the kids. Stay for dinner in one of our local restaurants or grab a quick bite to eat at one of the many chain restaurants you will find in our main road before heading home. Blythewood is a growing town, and we offer many benefits to businesses looking for a new home. We have recently partnered with Richland County to set aside 1,350 acres to be used as a light industrial park to attract industry-leading businesses and technical jobs to the town. Blythewood has a unique ability to attract larger industries looking for space to build while still offering many opportunities for small local businesses and eateries to thrive. We have a big vision by anyone's standards with a detailed, comprehensive 10-year plan to get us there. We welcome you to discover Blythewood and enjoy our warm, friendly attitude toward life and each other. Whether you're interested in recreation, business, or finding a new home, we thank you for your interest in Blythewood, and remember, you're always welcome. Hello, I'm Mayor Brian Franklin, and I would like to introduce you to the wonderful town of Blythewood, South Carolina. Those who live here take great pride in the history and culture of this town, and I would love to tell you a little about who we are and what we have to offer. Blythewood was founded by Native Americans who settled here long ago, naming this area Doco, which means gathering place. And that's exactly what this town is all about. Located just off of Interstate 77, just 15 miles north of Columbia and an hour south of Charlotte, Blythewood is a town rich with tradition, community, and activities, hosting large events year-round that draws crowds from all over the region and across the state, while also serving as a home to many industries and small businesses. Blythewood hosts numerous town events each year to support the people of this community and display the town's history, recreational activities, and supporting the arts scene. From the large celebrations of Black History Month, the 4th of July, Memorial Day, and Veterans Day, to the annual Blythewood Rodeo, Ribfest, Doco Film Festival, Oktoberfest, and of course, our annual town Christmas tree lighting event. Blythewood has something unique to offer every single month. You might come here for the sporting activities such as the championship caliber University of South Carolina equestrian team, the pristine Cobblestone Park Golf Course, and our top-notch high school athletic teams and recreation centers. Or you might come to spend the afternoon in our beautiful Doco Meadows Park, where we often host outdoor concerts, a weekly farmers market, and plenty of activities for the kids. Stay for dinner in one of our local restaurants or grab a quick bite to eat at one of the many chain restaurants you will find in our main road before heading home. Blythewood is a growing town, and we offer many benefits to businesses looking for a new home. We have recently partnered with Richland County to set aside 1,350 acres to be used as a light industrial park to attract industry-leading businesses and technical jobs to the town. Blythewood has a unique ability to attract larger industries looking for space to build while still offering many opportunities for small local businesses and eateries to thrive. We have a big vision by anyone's standards with a detailed, comprehensive 10-year plan.
Andrew, we're ready. I'll call us back to order in open session. That's part 4 tonight. Part 5, any items requiring a vote after executive session.
Mr. Mayor, I'd like to make a motion.
Councilman McKenna.
I would like to make the following motion that the town of Blythewood, actually I'll back this up and say the motion would be to give the town administrator and the town attorney authorization to enter into a contract to purchase parcels A and B as discussed in executive session for a price not to exceed $2.8 million on an amortization schedule not to exceed 12 years with a payment plan not to exceed the 7-year mark with a balloon payment due upon the 7-year mark with no prepayment penalty. And I believe that's the extent of my motion.
Second that motion.
Probably motion is second to enter into contract negotiations for a parcel of property. Any further discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. All opposed? The ayes have it. And along with that, Councilman McKenrick, I'd like to appoint you and Mayor Pro Tem Baltman to assist in those negotiations, if you don't mind.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Mayor.
Part 6 tonight.
Mr. Mayor, I'd actually like to make a motion.
Please.
Thank you, sir. Mr. Mayor, I'd like to make a motion to authorize the mayor to enter into a contractual agreement with the town administrator at the salary discussed, pending a review by the town attorney on the items identified within the form of the agreement. A further move that the mayor receives authorization to execute said contract if the conditions set forth by the town attorney are met satisfactorily.
Mr. Mayor, I'll second the motion as well.
It's been probably motion and seconded to authorize the mayor to enter into contract negotiation with the town attorney. Any further discussion? Town administrator, I apologize. Any further discussion? All in favor, signify by saying aye. Aye. All opposed? The ayes have it. Thank you. Now moving to public hearing tonight, part 6.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Actually, for both of these public hearings, Ordinance 2022.016 and Ordinance 2022.017, they both require a public hearing. And so the first one is to adopt the technical ordinances, and the second is to establish a new fee. There's no one signed up to speak for either of them. So this ordinance is to establish a new fee, and it requires, anytime you add a new fee, it requires a public hearing. The second reading is later in the agenda. Thank you. Mr. Mayor, Ms. Cossum has invested a large amount of time in improving the town's presence on social media, and she's here tonight to provide council a report on her work in the last 6+ months, and I'll turn it over to her.
Welcome, Ms. Cossum.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. I'll keep it brief. All right, let's get into it. So for the marketing progress report, some objectives that I had was to identify what works and what people want, and improve our social media presence and just our general presence, and create a plan and establish measurable goals, not just goals, but just measurable goals that we can further discuss and examine, analytics, and design marketing materials for residents and tourists. So I won't bore you with the analytics here, but just for Instagram, I wanted to say that we are growing. So when I first started, we had about 200 followers, and now we're at 563. So we're growing significantly, and I think it's just because I'm using it, we're posting on it frequently, and just want to kind of let you know about that. The main people who are looking at it are Columbia residents and Blythewood residents, which is really good because that's saying that we are a high communication point for our citizens here. And I wanted to also point out that we have an older audience. So pretty much the people on Instagram are 25 to 54, and they're mostly women who utilize Instagram. So for Facebook, Facebook is our #1 social media channel, which I'm sure you all know. This information is from 28 days, or the last 28 days. So just to let you know, reach is the number of people who saw a post at least once. So that reach is pretty good. Our engagement is just in general like likes, shares, clicks, people who are engaging with the post that we put in. That's 11,000. It's pretty good. Got a lot of growth to do with that, but it's looking pretty good. So I'll say for Facebook. So for Twitter, Twitter is one of those that we really don't use that much. We got 1.2K impressions. I'll say we have a low follow base, but it's not a bad thing. That just means that people prefer Instagram and Facebook. And so I was really excited about this one. This is our website presence. This just kind of lets you know, like, when people go to our website, what they're looking at. They're going to the welcome page, which is normal because that's the first one they see. They go into Ducko Meadows Park and they're wanting things to do, so they're going on those pages, and I can put more information on those pages just to kind of let people know what we're doing. Another thing is at the bottom, it says 1K Christmas tree parade and 255 Christmas tree lighting. That just basically, that was huge for me. That just means basically people are going to our page for information. So they're going on there every year looking for that. And those analytics were really good for that. For YouTube, for like the live streams and the things that we all do here, people are noticing the lives that we do here. 60.4% are not subscribed to our channel, which is not bad. That just means that people are just going on there and looking at it, but they're not subscribing to know every time we have a meeting, which is not bad. But the biggest thing here is people are noticing it. And for our newsletter, which I'm also excited about, I'm in the process of rebranding our newsletter, but so far I've got a lot of positive feedback about it. People love the new style. They think it's clear and easy to read. I added trivia. They love that. And people love that we're consistent with it, that we do it every other Monday, 6 o'clock in the morning. That you get those emails. People love that about it. There are also 310 plus people who look at it on a consistent basis, which is really good. Because sometimes those numbers fluctuate where you may have 20 people, 5 people, it just changes, but people are looking at that on a consistent basis, so that's really good. I recently worked on this, the Christmas tree lighting statistics. So I utilized Eventbrite, which is basically a self-servicing ticketing platform that allows anyone to create, find, and share events here. So I utilized that, and 170 people reserved tickets for that. So that was a really good point for that. Even though the sound wasn't the best at that event, I did hear the mayor say that that was one of the biggest crowds we've ever had. And I think one of the reasons why is just because of the push for marketing, as well as the push for people talking about it, they know it's coming, that kind of thing. And if you look there, there's some top cities and travelers and that kind of thing. That was also on that report that I did. So what's the plan? So our top performers are Facebook and Instagram, and our lowest are Twitter and YouTube. So that means we need to post more on Facebook and Instagram because that's what people like, that's what people are going to. So we need to post more on that. Another thing I put on there was we needed to make I needed to make newsroom relationships and gain coverage and traction. So that's just kind of letting more people know what's going on here in Blythewood. And so here, try to scroll down a little bit. This is marketing examples. I don't know if we've ever had a welcome packet or brochures or just things to have at town hall in case tourists or visitors come. So I've been working on this. Still needs a little TLC, but we've been working on that. And then there's also some things, some items there, T-shirts and sunscreens by your tables that you can kind of look through. We've been working on getting some new marketing gear just for people to have, and when we have events, things to give to people. Okay, what we need. The biggest thing here that I want to say is we need a rebrand. I think our town logo and our town's colors should reflect our town's soul and where we're going. And I think that because Blythewood is growing, and we're growing really quick, we need a rebrand. And so I put that on there. And another thing we need is more elected official interaction. So I know I don't go to all the events, but I'll say I know you all go to the events. And so like, if you ever go to an event and you can, please send me a picture and I'll get it on there so that we can make sure that people are knowing what you all are doing and that I can get that advertised. And I do want to put or talk about the concise information channel. So I know a lot of people use What's Happening Blythewood, and a lot of people find information on there, but sometimes that information can be misleading. So like they may ask a question and then people will comment, and then now people are not knowing kind of what's going on. And so I think one way to fix that is just to kind of post more consistently and post accurate information. So that's just something I've been working on. And to create a more modern look. I know, Mary, you talked a little bit about this too, but having like a tagline with the rebranding, I think that would be really good, just to have like individuals seeing us be consistent on our social media and everything. And so my last thing I'll talk about is what works and what do people want. They love the real life events. They love things to do, the park events. They love the social media, but they want more transparency. So they want to kind of know what's going on here. They ask questions all the time, and they kind of want more transparency and more local business support. And that's all. That's all I have. Any questions, any feedback, any critiques? Here.
I think it's a remarkable job. I appreciate all the hard work that's gone into this. Yeah, good feedback. Folks are starting to learn about more events because of what you're doing, and I appreciate it.
Okay. Any other questions?
Thank you.
Okay.
I thought you did an exceptional job on the tree lighting.
Thank you.
You could just feel the different vibe of the various things you had going on. It was a great job.
Part 8 tonight, action items, and we have citizens' testimony regarding action items as an item is presented. Part A is discussion and approval of a request to sponsor the cost of renting Doco Manor for the Columbiettes Ladies Luncheon in April of 2023.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Ms. Arlene Bacutis of the Columbiettes of Transfiguration Catholic Church in Blythewood is requesting that the town support their fundraising event by sponsoring the cost of renting Doco Manor on a Sunday in April 2023. She She's still working on which Sunday to hold the event, but the cost of renting Doco Manor for that phrase Sunday in April is $3,400, and she's here tonight to further describe the event and formally make her request.
Welcome.
Thank you. Thank you. Good evening, Mayor Franklin, Town Council. Just thank you so much for allowing me to share some information with you tonight. As Mr. Williamson said, I'm a teacher by trade, so I can project. I apologize. Mr. Williamson said, I am Arlene Bacutis. I am the Vice President of the the Columbiates of Transfiguration Catholic Church. And the Columbiates support the Knights of Transfiguration Catholic Church. We are sisters in Blythewood. We are mothers in Blythewood, and we are doing good for the community. And I come before you tonight to ask for the use of this facility for a fundraiser. And I do understand that April the 30th is free, and we are hoping to get that date. However, my mom always said beggars can't be choosers, so any date that would be available, we would love that. We do understand that it costs $3,400 to use this facility all day long. We are ladies who are very conscientious of the money that we spend. We are an auxiliary of 81 ladies, and if you have noticed in your packet that I gave to Mr. Williamson, we look at our numbers. If you look on page 2 of the packet, we started our luncheon in 2016. And I'm not just for the sake of brevity, I'm going to start in 2020. That was COVID. My goodness, everything shut down. We shut down as well. The Ladies' Luncheon is a major fundraiser for us. We knew in 2021 that we wanted to give back to the community because all of the money that we raise from the luncheon goes directly back to charities. The ladies list charities that they're interested in donating to 1 month, and then the next month we vote on the 5 of those charities. So if you look at 2021, our net profit was a little more than $4,200. We had 51 ladies online. And I would say the average age of our Columbiates is over 50, which was amazing because we were using Zoom. For many ladies, it was the first time that they had ever used Zoom, but we continued and we raised money and gave to those 5 charities listed. In 2022 was the first time that we had ever used Doco Manor. That was last year here in this room. It was absolutely fabulous. Some of the ladies who attended our luncheon had never been here to Doco Manor, although they live in Blythewood. They were so impressed by the facilities, by the grounds. They specifically requested if we could have it here again this year. So if you notice from the spreadsheet, in 2022, last year, we had 96 ladies sitting in this room. We sold out, basically. We made a profit of $4,300, and we donated that money back to Angels Unaware, Clean of Heart, Lighthouse for Life, St. Clair's Home, and Toby's Place. And those are 501c3 charities. In your board packet, in your council packet, you receive descriptions of those charities. And so tonight, in closing, we just hope for a favorable response to our ask. And with that, I'll be quiet and see if there are any questions that you might have.
Councilmember comments. Concerns, comments, anybody?
Yes, Mr. Mayor, I'll start.
Councilman Kent.
Thank you very much. What a worthwhile effort you put into a great cause and supporting, obviously, a lot of the same charities that have either come before this council or that we actually support through our budget as well. In 2022, did you rent the manor?
We did not rent it. We received it free of charge. And we are very thankful for that.
Yes, ma'am. Mr. Williamson, was that through Steve?
That's correct.
I'll go ahead and conclude what my remarks are going to be. I have worked closely with Ms. Coggins and the manor to try to stem the loss of revenue. I'm certainly not taking anything from what y'all did in 2022. Congratulations. Raising money and giving it back to nonprofits is a good thing. But as you mentioned, it's a beautiful facility and it costs money to run. So there is the avenue of, and I'm sure Mr. Williamson can give this to you if you don't already have it, but you would qualify for applying for HTAX. Other than the fact that you're a ticketed event, are 100% of the people that come to your event, do they purchase tickets?
Yes, sir.
Okay. That would potentially create a roadblock for you, but only because I'm working to stem the tide here, I'm going to have to oppose donating the facility because there's a lot of nonprofits who rent this facility, and if everybody came and asked to donate it, we would set a precedent. It would be a hard hurdle to jump. So that's nothing personal against your organization, just the business side of me. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Councilman Griffin.
So, appreciate, I'm going to slightly echo what my colleagues said here. Appreciate everything that you and your organization has done and will continue to do, regardless of what this council decides tonight. I am on that same page, trying to figure out from a business end of the town of Blythewood how to take care of this beautiful facility in the park and continue to grow this facility in the right way. And I know there's a lot of organizations, some president sitting out behind you right now, that would, I won't say been in some type of debated wars at times in this building, but we have helped in the past, and we've been on the trajectory of writing those correct, to put everybody on the same page. And I'm sure you'll hear some of that tonight after your presentation. Hear how we're doing that. And you'll hear some other echo, maybe debated pieces where some might not agree, but I think we're on the right page. I fully supported my colleague here on his expertise from a business end to fix and monetize correctly. But don't want that to stop you or hinder you. I stand on the bill of being fair to everyone. And I feel like if I open that box for you, and I'm looking at a gentleman behind you, I'm looking at another gentleman, they'll come right back up here and say, hey, you did it for them, do it for me. So I think if you could fit your program into the HTAX category, which those applications open next month, I think that's a perfect avenue to come back to and revisit. Thank you, ma'am, for coming this evening.
Thank you.
Mr. Mayor.
Please, Councilman.
Also, thank you for coming. I was just browsing your purpose and your ask and your charities, and they're all worthy endeavors. I just want to add one more point of information. Two members of council have said that you could apply for H-tax. You can. We had a almost complete rewrite of the applications, and we actually struck religious organizations from that application, if everyone remembers that, and this council voted on that unanimously. So I'm just putting that out there, just so that you have all the information in front of you. And for that reason, I'm out. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, sir. I'll just conclude by saying I think Blythewood is our people. I think what you're doing is what our citizens want to happen in facilities like this. I think we had excess funds available, so I would be in support of your request for what you're doing. And the money that you raise goes right back to charity, and that's what we value as a town. Fully understand what my colleagues are saying. I get it. We've had discussions about these things in the past, but I am in support. Any other comments? Do we have a motion to approve the request for the Columbia's Ladies Luncheon?
Mr. Mayor, just so that we get a vote on the record, I'll make a motion.
Thank you. Do we have a second?
Thank you.
Any further discussion? All in favor, signify by saying aye. Aye. All opposed?
No.
Those have it. The motion does not carry. But thank you, ma'am, for your time.
Thank you, Mayor.
Part B tonight, discussion and approval of a proposed policy to allocate hospitality and accommodations tax funds. Mr. Williams.
Mr. Mayor, just Councilman Brock and Councilman McKenrick have prepared the proposed policy for allocating hospitality and accommodations tax funds for the fiscal year 2023-24.
Yeah, Mr. Williamson has some paper copies for anybody in the audience that would like a copy. I apologize. This was sent out to council Friday night about 9 o'clock. I have one. So what we're going to present is kind of a two-piece policy. It's the two pieces. One is written, and obviously we can vet it through our town attorney after the fact, because I probably haven't crossed all my legal T's and dotted all my I's. And we also have a working spreadsheet that is mostly formula-driven. So we'll put in our estimates, and it spits out most of the information that we need, and then it allows for some council discretion. But before we get started, I want to take a moment of personal privilege and thank Councilman McKenrick for his work and dedication to this project. I want to thank those that came to our town hall meeting and anybody that's reached out to us to offer feedback. And because without Councilman McKenrick and these individuals, we wouldn't be here today about to present a landmark recommendation for the overhaul of accommodations and hospitality tax administration. Now, I want to go back and let's think about over the past two budget cycles this council has discussed, debated, and frankly, we have failed to address the ballooning allocations within accommodations and hospitality. But tonight, this subcommittee is presenting a policy that, if adopted by council, will simplify our payments to the Blythewood Facilities Corporation, allocate significant resources to capital assets, capital projects, and capital improvements, and it will still allow the town to sponsor and support local historical, cultural, and recreational facilities and events. Now, this is going to be a big step. And while it may be seen by some as extreme, what it does is it aligns Blythewood with what the subcommittee believes is our overall mission which is to enhance the lives of our citizens, while bringing us in compliance with the South Carolina Code of Laws, more specifically Title VI. So with that, we present our recommendations. I've got 4 pages here. For lack of a better words, the first 2 pages are simply a regurgitation of the portions or sections of Chapter 6 that apply to state accommodations, local accommodations, and hospitality. Title VI, Chapter 4 applies the state accommodations tax. It lists our rules here. Everyone's familiar with these rules. And then it lists tourism-related expenditures, what we can actually spend the money on. Advertising and promotion of tourism is developed to increase a tourist attendance through the generation of publicity, promoting arts and culture. I'm not going to read them all. We have beat this drum for so long that everyone at these tables should be very familiar with Title VI. So we've got our rules here, and these rules on the first 2 pages are what we used to determine the recommendation that we are presenting tonight. So first 2 pages, the rules we're playing with. We're playing by, rather. All right, so let's get into the meat of why we are here tonight. My little opening paragraph says, in conjunction with the criteria established by Title VI of the South Carolina Code of Laws, the Town of Blythewood Finance Subcommittee recommends the following rules for the appropriation of state accommodations, local accommodations, and hospitality tax. These are in no particular order. Expenditures must strictly adhere to the permitted uses outlined by Title VI, local government. Number 2, all expenditures must be approved by the town administrator prior to disbursement of funds. Number 3, first-year events are funded at a maximum of $7,500 of eligible expenses in the first fiscal year of implementation. Number 4, subsequent year events are funded at a maximum of $5,000 of eligible expenses per fiscal year. Number 5, organizations are capped at $15,000 in the first fiscal year of implementation and $10,000 in all subsequent years. Number 6, ticketed and private events do not qualify for state accommodations, local accommodations, or hospitality funding. Number 7, Richland School District 2 area high schools, Blythewood and Westwood, will receive $5,000 fiscal year scholarships. Individual sports or sporting events will not receive individual funding. So, when coming up with these rules, we wanted to try to make it very straightforward, where we would have an Excel spreadsheet, we would plug in our estimates, and it would spit out our obligations, and it would leave us with the amount of monies that we have left over that council can allocate at its discretion. So, as I was saying, we have an Excel formula-driven document. The allocations can change, but to ensure long-term financial stability, it's recommended that no changes occur while the town is contractually obligated to appropriate revenues for the financing of capital assets, capital projects, or capital improvements, which we did earlier this evening. So we've got an example. We're going to walk through an example, and Councilman Kendrick is going to drive, and I'm going to walk through it. So starting with state accommodations. All right. If you look at the November financial documentation, which is on the website, so through November, which is 5 months of our fiscal year, we've received approximately $94,000 in state accommodations. So if we gross that number up, which is 94 divided by 5/12, it gives us $225,600. As you can see, according to the rules of SAT, the first $25,000 come out and they go to the general fund. Our next 5%, again, according to the rules, goes to the general fund. 30% goes to our DMO, which stands for Destination Marketing Organization. It is currently Lake Murray Country. And then the remaining balance of $130,390 is what we can allocate per the rules that are established in Title VI. So that is the number that is derived based on our estimate as to what council can allocate. Now, we have some things that we feel are kind of no-brainers that we put in there The first one is the Historical Society employee at $23,500. Blythewood Historical Society Museum maintenance of $5,000. By design, $20,000, 10 of which I believe Mr. Williams is for storage, so we at least have to pay that. And so that spits out a balance of $81,890. Now, I've got a little asterisk here on our sheet that says pending a legal review, all excess SAT funds should be remitted for contractual obligations to the Blythewood Facilities Corporation. For example, in this instance, $81,890 would be appropriated to we're calling it a bond payment, but it's not a bond payment. It's an installment purchase and use agreement between the town and the Blythewood Facilities Corporation. So when we passed the ordinance, what was that, Mr. Williamson? It alleviated the 2022.11. When we passed that ordinance, it removed the percentage restrictions that the town had been placed in of, what was it? 28% to the general fund, 21% to local accommodations, and 51% to hospitality. So now, with the passage of that ordinance, we can allocate the funds out of any available revenue source provided it fits the criteria. Well, I reached out to our bond attorney, Ray Jones, on Friday, and he gave us a legal opinion that says that yes, we can use SAT funds, the 65%, or the $25,000 of the general fund and the excess 5% to pay the bond. So that was the first thing we did, was we allocated the excess monies to the installment plan and use agreement between the town of Blythewood and the Blythewood Facilities Corp. So that drives our SAT based on that estimate to zero, which is what we want to do. We have to spend that money. Go ahead. Interrupt any time.
No, you're fine. I just want to make sure everybody understands this number right here. That negative $81,890, which is the difference from this $200,600 minus the obligations that we have, leaves you a balance of $81,890, which carries to right there. That's what's driving that number.
One other thing, on his sheet, you see there's $237,462 coming out of local accommodations. That is not correct. That is a formula-driven number, and we're going to drive that number down.
So during the budget work sessions that we held and the subsequent budget approval, part of what we did was ask, and Brock referred to this a few minutes ago, ask the bond company to let us out of the percentages that we were tied to, which are up here that you see, this 28, 21, 51. It's hard when you start with half of a pot of money being hospitality tax, because 51% of that money is already spoken for by ordinance. So we got relief from that, and you're going to see through this spreadsheet why we asked for that relief, because it allows us now to take the past councils we've had, their wise spending and development when this town didn't have a bond rating. And we went out and we got a bond, and they don't have a tax base. So how are you going to repay that bond? Well, the bond company came to council then and said, we'll take this percent, and this percent. If you pass this by an ordinance, you'll get your bond. That's what they did. And we have a great credit rating as a result. So much so that, for those of you who were here, council certainly heard, when Ray came before us and let us out of those percentages, he congratulated this current council and past councils on the way they've handled this. And not only did they compliment council on the way we've handled debt in the past, they prescribed 0% by ordinance of any of these funds. Simply have to pay your bills. So I don't want to gloss over or understress what that allows the current council to do. You heard coming out of executive session that we're getting ready to be in a contractual agreement to buy property. you'll see how this works out. That we're not going to the residents of Blythewood asking for a tax or asking for a bond. We can do it with the funds we are now getting, and I believe still maintain a level of. The mayor has always said he wants one major event in the park a month or something happening in Blythewood each month. And a lot of people work really hard to do that. And I believe this can accomplish both goals. So I don't want to just gloss over this bond payment because right now it does drive a lot of this spreadsheet, as does the property we're negotiating to purchase. So same number, 319, 352. You're going to see here. You're going to see this 237 number go down as we fill in this spreadsheet. But the bond payment, our requirement is still 319, 352.
Yeah, just in case anybody's wondering, these three numbers, this 28, 21, and 51, this comes straight out of our current fiscal year budget, down to the dollar. So,
LAT, you can.
All right, let's actually back up. Let's go back down to the bond for general fund. So last year, or this current fiscal year, we allocated 89,959, or 28%, which was mandated by the agreement between the town and the Blythewood Facilities Corp. We had to appropriate that to pay our bills, as Councilman Kendrick said. We are proposing to take that 89,959 down to 59,959, and then take the excess $30,000 that we're saving and reallocate it to outside agency requests. So the current outside agency request line item is 36,500. Yes. All right. Then we would recommend upping that by $30,000 to 66,500. And as you can see, the local accommodations number was driven down by that 59,959. Speaking of local accommodations, let's talk about it. Again, pulling from our 5-month financials, according to the documents on the town's website, we have currently received approximately $91,000. If you divide that by 5/12, it generates $218,400. The bond payment of $177,503 completes our obligation, and it leaves us a remaining balance of approximately $41,000. Those are dollars that we can use to fund events or whatever we want to do within the confines of the local accommodations, with the way it lays out in Title VI. So, what was that? Anyways, that doesn't matter. So, basically, we are proposing to satisfy our debt obligation between us and the Blythewood Facilities Corp. to pay, what are our percentages? 19% out of the general fund, 26% out of state accommodations, and 56% out of local accommodations. State accommodations and local accommodations are more restrictive dollars. They have time frames associated with them where we have to spend them. But this is the beauty of this. Prior to this recommendation, we were allocating 51% of our hospitality dollars toward the bond, or toward our installment plan for payment and use. Under this policy, we are allocating $0. That is a big step forward. Why, you ask? Because now we can allocate the town to where we can actually buy property, where we can save money for capital projects, capital improvements. We can develop the property that we're acquiring. If you scroll over to, what is that, column K, Councilman McHenry? So also looking at the discretion in column G for local accommodations, at $7,500, which would be year one, we could fund up to 5 events, and what will be our excess? There's $33.97, which could still be used. We assume max funding just to see how many we can fund at a maximum level. The ceiling is $7,500 in the first year of implementation. The floor is obviously $0, so you could fall, any applicant could fall somewhere in between.
One thing I'll say here, and for people who are either watching by TV or here that have events here in Blythewood, for the first year of implementation here, we are recommending everybody start at the 7,500 level unless your event does not call for that kind of funding. So an event that has been held here for 4 years, you're not starting as a multi-year event. You're starting as a first-year event. Because we understand this is a big step. If this is approved, this is a big step for Blythewood. And we obviously still want to continue to partner to do things. So everybody would be considered a first-year event if this is approved.
All right, so for our hospitality, same thing, grabbed it off the November. We have received $247,000. Divide that by 5/12, generates $592,800. Pretty good. We are recommending 50% be set aside in a restricted account for capital projects, capital improvements, and capital assets. Not only that, we are also recommending to set aside 1 year's payment, which we estimate at about $250,000. Negative. Sorry. Which will cover the land purchase agreement which we entered into this evening. That generates an excess of $46,400. That number is probably low. We just had a new restaurant come online. And so, again, it allows us to fully fund 5 more events with an $8,900 balance. And any excess funds in hospitality, we would recommend transferring those to the restricted account for capital assets, capital improvements, and capital projects.
Again, here you see 0 from hospitality tax on the proposed. That's coming from right here.
So our numbers that are highlighted are the numbers that you key them in. Everything else is formula driven. It removes any bias, any favoritism. It simply spits out the numbers based on our estimates.
So one thing I would like to add here before council starts firing questions, which I'm sure they're going to have, rightfully so, or from the audience. In my opinion, from working on the subcommittee, these numbers are the worst it gets. As the industrial park develops, as Frank's Car Wash opens, as Taco Bell opens, as more people stay, eat, dine, sleep, fuel in Blythewood, all these categories are going to increase. So when we say everything in yellow can change, this Excel spreadsheet will calculate everything, but there's going to be more funds available beyond this year. What council did tonight in an executive session, the decisions we made tonight and then made the motion in open session, does not exceed that capital asset line item. This was not planned. This was not somebody behind the curtain pulling strings. Council can attest to this. This subcommittee was challenged with doing this because last year through the budget process, and when we get to H-tax and A-tax and SAT and hard decisions, year after year that organizations apply for money and get money and continue to put on high-quality events for this town, the problem is we can't purchase infrastructure to support you. Phil, I'm going to put you on the spot. I told you, 4 days ago, we don't want our Rib Fest to leave Blythewood. It's a cornerstone event. And your concern is, and rightfully so, if we have multiple events on this property, we create some parking situations. And I gave you my word, we're working on your parking. And the action we took tonight is going to solve your parking. So I don't want no smoke and mirrors here. This just lined up And we were not shooting for a specific amount of money. But what we were trying to do was establish a ceiling and establish a floor and go ahead and consider everybody a first-year event, and for lack of a better term, remove that Band-Aid. I truly do believe it gets easier beyond year one. And this council could be sitting here next year saying it's not a $7,500 first-year fee, it's a $10,000 first-year award. It can change that drastically and that quick.
Well, also another couple of points to keep in mind is our obligation to the Blythewood Facilities Corp. It has an end date. At 3/19/352, I believe it's 2032. I believe that's the end date on that when that matures. Also, the $250,000 that we've allocated for capital assets, that also has an end date. So in less than 10 years, you'll have, what are we talking, let's see, $570,000 in free cash flow.
Coming from these three accounts.
Yeah.
Coming from SAT, LAT, and HTAX.
Yeah. And that's just the tip of the iceberg. We're going to continue to grow that. The industrial complex will break ground, I believe, in the next year or so. That's only going to add more to the town's coffers. That doesn't mean we go hog wild and just go out and spend money, but it does give us opportunities. It gives us opportunities to acquire land, develop it. It gives us opportunities to develop and grow our infrastructure, to beautify our town, to add the gates that we need across the bridge, to make our town more appealing from an everyday basis. This gives us an opportunity to invest in assets that are going to pay dividends in perpetuity. And I believe it's the right time that will yield the right results. So does anybody have any questions?
Mr. Mayor. I want to first off thank the committee for their due diligence and hard work. This is something that we talked about and we turned into some action. So I'm proud of the hard work. I know it wasn't easy, and I know it's still not easy. The policy hasn't come forth with a passing measure or denial, but I want to thank them for that hard work and looking at moving forward in the future. I do have a question on page 3. Okay. At the top where your line item 6 says ticket and private events do not qualify. Does that include for-profit in that category as well?
As the policy is written, I would say that it would include for-profits. But I don't know how a for-profit would exist without selling tickets.
You're cutting funding, right, to every ticketed event.
We didn't come here to discuss that tonight, but there are alternatives to where the town of Blythewood can collaborate with other events.
This is past, this is in.
Mr. Mayor, just a follow-up to Sloan's question.
I'm losing my...
The new application, to your original question, the new application does prohibit for-profit from applying.
Yeah, I just want to make sure that if that's the case, knowing that, that it needs to be in this document as well, because this is a policy piece to that application. So
makes sense.
My suggestion would be in line item 6 to add for-profit in that to correlate with the application.
Why not just add Roman numeral 8?
Yeah.
Well, that's however you guys see fit.
Yeah. Okay.
But just make sure it follows the application. And then and it might be a raw number, but the $573K of like free cash that you were saying down the line at some point would free up. At that point, looking at that and where we're going with projects, that money could be put back into the development phase of said purchase property on both sides. I mean, we got three pieces of property, so that money could be put back into developing these sports fields and things that we talked about, correct? Not necessarily chopped back up into event money, but it could recycle.
That's exactly what the idea behind it is for, is to reinvest in the town, in the town's infrastructure.
Agreed, yes. My larger point was, as the town's revenue grows, because there's no millage,
yes,
and we need to be careful, and I don't want to go down a rabbit hole, but we need to be careful about, and council has talked about this before, going to the state and fighting to enact a millage, because with that comes enormous responsibility we're just not in the position to tackle.
I'm going to finish my point here and pass my time. And when we start talking millage, that basically, you see, I stutter because I would pay for the millage. I mean, we would pay for it. We're not immune to it just because we vote for it. We don't get a discount. It is never in my intentions of ever having a conversation about a millage. That's why I'm excited to see this, because this offsets ever having that conversation to provide the facilities, the soccer fields, the football fields, and these things that Blythewood residents so desire. Simple things as trees along the Blythewood Road corridor. If we want to put palm trees up, we can do that, and it doesn't necessarily cost the citizens of Blythewood. So I am proud of this plan that you guys have put forth, and again, I applaud you all on this, so thank you for bringing it forward. Mr. Mayor, that concludes my time.
Thank you. That same paragraph there, just help me, I can't get my head around this here. First year events are funded at maximum of $7,500 in number 3. What does number 5 tell us?
Number 5 tells you that if you are a multi-event organization, then the most you can get is $15,000. Whether that would have to be at a minimum 2 events, though. If you had 5 events, then you could do $3,000 a piece, or however. But it has to be eligible expenses, and we've shifted the approval of those eligible expenses to the town administrator. That takes it off of our hands. You're in compliance with Title VI. They check the boxes. Funds out the door.
Which, Mr. Mayor, would take us back to the conversation we had, I believe it was last month or the month before, with the revised application. This recommendation writes a lot of very broad borders that town council has used in the past. If you read the statute, it just doesn't allow for things that past councils have allowed for. And I found myself in that position tonight when somebody's coming and asking, rightfully so, to use a facility rent-free that they used last year and really enjoyed it. And they didn't pay for it last year. And that's a slip past this council, and was probably a call made by an employee that the council, by a 3-2 vote, but the council changed tonight. Those are the kind of gaps and wide borders that we're trying to correct. So the statute does very clearly say what you can pay and what you can't pay. And we're just trying to pull those parameters in and adhere to them. I also don't think we are delusional in the fact that we just had a Chris Kendall market in the park, and for a first-year event, went extremely well. And if you look back at the data, we gave that one event more than that entire organization would be able to ask for next year. That is the Band-Aid I'm talking about. That is how council, in conjunction with organizations and nonprofits, have to come up alongside them and help them figure out how to fill the void. I don't want anybody to think we're not aware of that.
One other thing, Mr. Mayor, and I threw this out there kind of like the spaghetti on the wall to see what would stick. I knew this would be a touchy issue for some members of council, and it definitely will be a touchy issue for some people watching at home and those in the audience. But I threw out the idea of discretionary funding for members of council. This is on the very bottom page, and we shifted $30,000 from the Blythewood Facilities Court payment, or we're recommending shifting $30,000 over to outside agency requests. Well, $30,000 divides quite nicely by 5 to easily $6,000. And what that would do is it would grant members of council the authority to award appropriations to events that meet the criteria of outside agency requests. I'll just run those real quick. A through G, recipients must be nonprofit organization in good standing, been in existence for a year. This is a very broad sentence. We could tighten this up. Recipients must use the awarded funds to benefit the town of Blythewood. I left it broad intentionally because, again, what you may feel benefits the town of Blythewood, someone else may disagree. No member of council may award more than 50% of their allocation to one organization. All unused balances at the end of the fiscal year are forfeited. All requests must be approved by the town administrator, subject to the approved restrictions, and the town administrator will update council on a regular basis on approved and rejected requests. So what that would allow the members of council to do is, if you felt that one or two organizations that qualify within these parameters were unjustly affected, then you could recommend some funds for them from the general fund to help them ease into this new Blythewood. A little bit of a compromise, but that's completely up to council. That last two paragraphs could be struck.
And Mr. Mayor, as any subcommittee works, there were points in the many meetings we had in phone conversations as we really did wrestle with how to give something to council to move us forward. Where Councilman Brock and I agreed, there were points where we disagreed and had to work through it, and that's what a subcommittee does. This part is neither here nor there to me as it relates to the whole. The whole is what's important to me. And I'm good with the recommendation, or I'm also good with taking the 36.5 and putting it into the same general fund allocation and allowing people to come before council and request additional funds, and we vote on it just like we did Transformation Churches Group tonight. Still, the majority rules, and that's where the money goes. Versus one councilman saying, yes, I can do this. I can give half of mine to one group or half of mine to another. I would just hate to think we would individually be lobbied, but I'm good with either.
I agree with that latter assessment you just made. I like the way we do it now. We bring these organizations forward. We talk amongst ourselves in public and then decide as a majority. So my preference would be to strike that entire part.
That's fine, Mr. Mayor. I would just ask that there's a cap on the amount of monies that can be awarded out of outside agency requests. But that's outside this proposal.
Outside this discussion.
Well, we can strike that with those last two paragraphs, no problem.
And then the schools, we say $5,000 sponsorship.
Yes, sir.
And then that school would have to determine how they allocate those funds based on a band competition or a baseball tournament or a basketball tournament.
Which again could grow.
That cuts out a lot of events, though.
We had a town hall meeting. Mm-hmm. We invited everyone to attend. Councilman McHenrick asked everyone in attendance, if your funding went to zero, would your event cease to exist? No one said yes.
I think just going on for what Councilman Ballman said, I think that was the reason for you guys putting the discretion money in there. Sorry, ma'am. I think, Councilman Brock, I think that was the reason for you all putting the discretionary money in there. Councilman Ballman felt that the baseball, I'm just throwing something out, that baseball A needed 500, he could request 500 to go support them.
Yeah, the idea behind the discretionary funds is that we're not always going to agree on where to allocate funds. So it would give you a little bit of flexibility. But again, if you want to go down the majority rules, we're going to up the outside agency request by $30,000. Those are general fund dollars. They can go to whatever we want them to go to. But again, it's not the time to discuss that right now. I'll just be looking for a cap on that. And that way somebody doesn't come in and get $20,000 and the next thing you know you got three organizations getting $20,000 each and you're left with $600 or whatever the difference is, $6,600.
To Councilman Ballman's point, as I look at some of the notes that we used as we were doing this, I mean, there was over $70,000 that went to Richland County School District 2 out of the Blythewood budget. I mean, if you take Richland County School District 2's budget and what they put toward athletics, somehow we have let that creep into this room. And we, Blythewood, are supporting major sporting events for a school district that dwarfs us with the amount of money they get from our taxes. And it's just time that we come up alongside these coaches and come up alongside our students and return that to where it belongs. And again, that's the second side of the Band-Aid. That's hard. I know them. Friends of mine, we live in the same neighborhood. Coaches are a special breed. I was a coach for years. And making those teams work is just a lot. But somehow we let that onus fall on our H-tax, which has actually crippled us from being able to do what we voted to do tonight. So I totally agree with that sentiment. And that's hard. Probably hits some of these sporting events harder or as hard as it does some of the major events we have here in the park.
That's a good assessment. Just 2 points there. Number one, Westwood and Blythewood, that's where our kids go to school. So that's why we're big supporters of it from my position. Secondly, absolutely agree. I've already started outreach to the new school board members to talk about this. Talk about renting their facilities to Pop Warner and lacrosse players and soccer players. You know, why are we having to build new sports complexes instead of modernize the Blythewood Park? Why are we not letting our Pop Warner practice on the practice fields of their football teams that we're already paying tax money for? So, in our goal setting session on January 6th, I'm going to bring this up again. And one of the objectives we need to add to the strategic plan is strategic communications. Not what Ms. Cosm does, but what we need to do. And 2 of us need to go talk to the school board every other month and bring back a report. 2 of us need to go to SCDOT and talk. 2 of us need to go. Constant communication because we've proven it works. Councilman Griffin, I followed up. We did projects with DOT, the State House earmarks, and the state budget simply because we got appointments, and talked to elected officials. They saw clearly what we needed, and they took action to do it because they had a surplus of funds at the time. So, right on, I agree with you. The school district needs to step up and do more for our kids here so the town can then, again, now that we have this motion that we passed, start rebuilding that infrastructure and using our outdoor space before it disappears.
And in doing so, you kind of take the shoe off of one foot and put it on another because we're purposely pulling back money that we're giving the school district and developing athletic fields that Richland County Recreation are not using our tax dollars for the population that's in Blythewood to do. So I'm not remiss the fact that we're kind of playing a shell game here, but it's the residents of Blythewood as a whole that have to benefit here.
Anybody in the public have anything they want to say? Any comments, any questions?
Comments, go ahead. Go ahead.
Come to the microphone, please.
Now, I look at those numbers, and first of all, I want to commend you all for doing this. Now, the money comes into the town from various outside agencies at different periods, so it's not going to be equal in terms of tax and things of that nature. I just want to know, did you all take in consideration of that? So we're just looking at whole numbers or in-state numbers as opposed to really equal amounts that come in each month.
Yeah, we're looking at a gross number on an annual basis.
Okay. All right. The other thing is the credit rating. Now that there's no stipulation per se in terms of what we have to do for the Blythewood Facilities Court, is that going to affect the credit rating? And I guess Ray can answer that. Ray Jones.
Well, first of all, Mr. Jones isn't here. And
Number
two,
when you ask him.
well, I don't understand the question, Mr. Bailey.
Well, the question is that some of those requirements in terms of paying for the, specifically the park, was tied to doing this on a certain, putting certain amounts towards paying the debt.
Appropriating
Right.
certain pools.
So will that affect?
You talking about the removal of the restrictions?
Right. Will that affect the overall credit rate?
My guess would be no, or we wouldn't have been allowed to do it.
Now, I specifically asked Ray in a conversation prior to those percentages being released. So part of the reason those percentages were implemented was we didn't have a credit rating.
Right.
You were on council at the time, I believe.
Yeah, I went up there for the
So
credit rating.
now, our credit rating, according to Ray, was we have a AAA credit rating. So we went from not establishing something to establishing something. And again, this is not indebting us to a bank.
Right.
We're not adding any, and we're not encumbering any property. We're not mortgaging any property other than the property we're getting ready to purchase, which is somewhat self-funded. And so I would answer your question. I'm not Ray. We can certainly ask Ray, but nothing here would affect our credit rate.
Unless you miss a payment, obviously, then.
Well, we haven't, though.
There you go.
That's why the restrictions were lifted, because our payment history is flawless. And it doesn't take an expert to look at our financials to see that the pools of money that we're receiving continue to increase.
The only other question I had is the amounts that you're giving to the school district. And you just said Westwood and Blythewood. What about the elementary school and the middle school? I mean, you said you're going to give them $5,000. I don't know where that number came from. But how about the other schools? Are we taking them into consideration, things they may want to do that are in Blythewood?
Good point. They've never come to ask for
I mean, our kids go there too, right?
They do. And the subcommittee did not, because they currently were not getting money because I would say they haven't fixed their caboose to that train yet. But had they realized,
right,
I'm sure they would have been on this list. But we only dealt with high schools because if you look at the list, that's the only schools we were giving some money.
And I'll tell you why that is. When high schools have marching band competitions that last 2 days, when they have baseball tournaments that last 3 days, when they have softball tournaments, Queens of the Castle, you're bringing people from all over the state in to here to spend the night, eat in restaurants. When you have a middle school basketball game, the bus shows up at 3 p.m., they play, they go back home by 6 p.m. So would that be a good investment anyway? You'd have to convince me that the middle school.
Maybe they want to do a tournament and expand. I mean, if they don't have any money, they're not going to expand. But perhaps if they get some funding, they can start expanding and marketing. And that may bring folks from outside of the state, just like they did with the Chick-fil-A when they came here.
If you can do that with middle school, absolutely. Because it suits the purpose of bringing tourists here to town. That's what the money is.
Because what will happen is the AAU will connect to them as well.
Yeah.
They'll start bringing in some other folks. Okay. That's the only question I have.
Absolutely.
Thank you, Mr. Bailey.
Thank you, sir.
First of all, I want to say thank you all for bringing that proposal and having the open town meeting, which I attended one of them at least. I said after that, the one good thing It's hard. Change is hard on anybody. I can speak as a CPA and as a nonprofit organization. Money is tight for everybody. And the short term is tough. If you're constantly focusing on the short term, you're never going to get the long-term accomplishments. While we made it to this point in time, as the town grows, as the infrastructure grows, as there's more opportunity for more people, such as our organization, to use the facilities, it makes it better for everybody. And if we don't do something now, and we keep kicking this can down the road and down the road and down the road, none of that's going to change. And you're going to have to go to the legislatures and ask for millage information. None of y'all as elected officials want to go out and say, hey, we're going to start charging out property taxes. That's not going to sit there. But this is a way to use outside people that we're bringing in to show our great community here, the events here, to help them fund these things that we're using. So again, I want to say thank you. My personal endorsement for this plan, like I said, I haven't read all the details, but at least we're moving somewhere in the right direction. So thank you all for at least doing that effort.
Thank you, Mr. Cahoon.
The only comment I wanted to put up was on item number 7, School District 2 area schools or high schools. And I hear the former mayor's comment, middle schools. There's a third high school. Are we buttonhole ourselves to, well, it's not a third high school yet, but everybody knows it will be soon. If we legislate, we might buttonhole ourselves somewhere.
And we knew, from a subcommittee standpoint, we knew the school district issue would get a lot of conversation and debate from council. One of those high schools is outside of Blythewood. So one of those high schools is not even in the town limits. And you look at what we're spending HTAX money for. That's where we're kind of outside those lines. I think if there was a third high school added here, which there will be, this Excel spreadsheet could easily be adjusted to give $5,000 to that third high school if that's where we were at, or a higher amount, because years down the road it could be higher. Bill, I'm going to push back a little bit here. That's your only comment on what you just saw. That's your only comment.
When you say a third high school, Mr. Fryer, are you talking about the one down on Grover Wilson and Hardscrabble?
Yeah.
I'm not a savant, but I suspect by the time that high school's built, which is probably 2+ years from now, there'll be an extra $5,000 in this plan.
Exactly. But Phil, the chamber puts together and pulls off multiple events a year. This impacts you and your organization more than any. And your only question is Richland County School District 2? I say that totally, you know me. I would like to hear what you think of this overall plan.
Too early to digest.
That's fair.
Bill, item 5 caps you from everything right there. Item 5 is going to cap you totally. It's going to handcuff you.
I'm sorry, say it again.
I think he's saying this makes your job much harder.
Item 5 is definitely going to make your job much harder.
Yeah.
I don't have a hard job.
It's a lot to take at first sight, but I was just interested if you had any first glance. And I'll tell council. Still didn't see this. It was only fair if council saw this tonight as we plug these numbers in this Excel spreadsheet. This is the first time soccer saw it. This is the first time the chamber saw it. This is the first time the rodeo saw it. This wasn't shared outside of the subcommittee's work. So this has to resonate for the people who put hours of work in to pull off events for our town. And Mr. Mayor, I said it earlier, I'll say it again, you repeatedly request 12 solid events a year if we can get there. I've pulled off many events, and it takes a lot of dedication, a lot of work, and we're not diminishing that in any way. So I would really like to hear, once this resonates and stews with you, I would like to hear back from some of these major events, because that's who's hitting. That was a councilman remark, not a subcommittee remark.
It's a shock. Some other people may be more.
Is it doable?
If you know me, nothing's not doable.
Well, we did ask you if you went to zero, could you do your event? You didn't say no. So now you're at maximum 7,500. That's better than zero. Just saying.
A lot to think about.
It is. Thank you, Phil.
Mr. Mayor, so my question to the subcommittee, this is on the agenda as a discussion and approval. So is the subcommittee looking for an approval tonight?
We would be looking for an approval with the following two amendments. On page 3, adding Roman numeral 8, which would state for-profit events are not eligible for SAT, LAT, or HTAX funding. And then the second amendment would be to strike the last one. I guess technically those are 3 paragraphs, under the following and then A through G.
Hold on, say that last one again.
Strike the last 3 paragraphs on page 4.
Okay, I got you.
Which, gentlemen behind you, would make that Excel spreadsheet look just like it looks now. I deleted.
Also,
I took off
the Excel spreadsheet is an integral part of the recommendation.
It is. They're part of each other.
Yeah.
And that is where this gets better. This Excel spreadsheet is where this plan gets better. And because I believe when Carol introduces the budget, the upcoming budget, these estimates at the top are going to, obviously, they're going to change. So
hopefully they're more. And as of right now, other than the events going from $7,500 to $5,000, this is what I expect to. This is as bad as it gets, because those numbers should go up, our obligations go down, more free cash flow. Year one's always tough.
Mr. Mayor, just a couple of things. I would say that the state accommodations tax comes into us quarterly, and so you will get the previous fiscal year payment this fiscal year. It's always it's a little bit hard to determine when you see that number on a particular day exactly what that is reflecting. So we can look at that and may have to modify that. And
our surplus should cover that. So.
It should.
All we're doing is spending and reimbursing ourselves. Spend and reimburse.
Right. I mean, it should. It's just sometimes it just comes in somewhat sporadically, and it's sort of deceptive sometimes to look at one report and determine that's where it is on this half of a year or something, because it changes. But and the other thing I would just say is that there is some policy, as Councilman Griffin was saying, there's a lot of policy written in the application. If we can bring all that into here as part of the motion, and then the application could just reference, so then you could change the policy and the application just references the policy. I think that would make it for to make sure there's no contradictions about, well, the application says this, but the policy doesn't say that. And like you were saying about religious organizations and things like that, all needs to be in here as a reference. Would be helpful from a management standpoint.
Well, Mr. Williamson, I prepared this Word document. I'd be happy to work with you to incorporate to merge those two documents together.
If you make that part of the motion as part of adopting this, that it's going to change somewhat to bring in already approved policies.
Mr. Mayor, if there is no other discussion from the, sir, I do have two. Okay.
The only two issues that are they call it 400-pound gorilla in the room, religious organizations, we're not allowing any to come ask for money. Is that what we're saying? Or is that the statute?
Statute.
So, an affiliated group works. Let's take, for instance, the Knights of Columbus. They want to come do something. We're going to consider that religious and say no.
It wouldn't be H-tax or A-tax.
Approved. Wouldn't be eligible.
Wouldn't be eligible.
Mr. Mayor,
Please.
if you look on page 3, it's specifically written in those Roman numerals, like, let's just take Roman numeral 6, for example. It says, ticketed and private events do not qualify for SAT, LAT, or H-tax funding. That doesn't mean that an event couldn't receive money from the general fund if the council so choose to appropriate that. What it does is you just can't take those dollars from SAT, LAT, and H-tax.
Perfect. That's exactly
The only allowable expenditures are dictated specifically in Title VI.
perfect.
If it's not listed, it's not eligible. And that's how we interpreted Title VI.
Okay. Actually, I have 2 more points. Ticketed events, I fully understand. But if you're doing a rib fest, let's just use that as an example, a big cornerstone event. Councilman Kendrick, I believe that's what you called it, which is true. Then do our vendors, are they allowed to sell their wares for sampling during this process?
So RibFest, and I think that's a good test, because for RibFest, you can attend the event.
Yes, RibFest is not a ticketed event.
Yeah.
I'll cover this one.
So we wouldn't consider that a ticketed
No,
event.
the idea behind a ticketed event is a private gala or a private golf tournament where the only individuals that can attend are ticket holders.
Perfect. Okay.
Rodeo qualifies for that?
The rodeo is a ticketed event, yes.
And the rodeo is a true ticketed event.
And it's a for-profit.
It is also
It's a
for-profit.
Yeah. Now,
Yeah, I'm going to ask you, and I know you're thinking about it.
Eddie, to your point, I'm not going to say we're coming in here with solutions, but I do believe, because I would consider the rodeo a cornerstone event for Blythewood, both of them. I believe we have, and we have not brought it to council. It's not part of the subcommittee. It was not part of what we were asked to do. But my nature, just my nature, if I'm creating a problem, I want to try to create a solution. If I'm going to close a door, I want it somewhere there will be a window open. There are some ideas that I would think actually improve some of our events, even though they're ticketed. It was not within the purview of the subcommittee, so we did not deal with it. We did not bring you solutions to some of these challenges or opportunities, as I like to refer to them. But they're there. They're before us. So I would tell council, I'm going to be proactive here. Now that this is out there in print, I'm reaching out to Buck Coggins because I don't want to see his event go anywhere. I want to see it to be successful. And I think there's a way, just like we allowed for a payment here to buy a almost $3 million piece of property, there's a way for us to jointly partner with Buck Coggins to pull off a spectacular rodeo twice a year, just like we do. And I just think the latitude's there to do that.
And Mr. Mayor, if you don't mind me asking, this council charged us with developing a policy that, on the surface, we tried to be as fair and unbiased and transparent as we could. That's why there are limits and restrictions placed in. We didn't put specific events up there. We operated within the confines of the restrictions that the state of South Carolina places upon us. And I believe we've done a fair job and we've presented a policy. We might not all like it. That's okay. We don't always get along. We don't always agree. I believe we've accomplished the mission that you set us out to do.
Absolutely.
If you want to charge us with bringing solutions to collaborate with other events that may fall out of this purview, then ask, and we will be happy to do that.
Mr. Mayor, I did want to point out, like, for instance, one of the events, the holiday market. It's not a ticketed event. But we've plotted $7,500 for first-year events, and we've said it would be our recommendation to treat all events in the 23-24 budget as first-time events. the holiday markets budget, their request to us last year was $5,500. So that's a particular event that would fall well below the $7,500 coming from council. So there is already a savings built in to some of these events that you're looking at. And like the school, we took those out of the 24 approved events. So there's multiple. I mean, there was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 right off the top. Then you look at ticketed events, 2 rodeos. Those come up right off the top. So your ask for events and HTAX applicants fall well within the, how many do we have there?
10, 11.
10, 11. We're within that. So I do think even first year in, this council at budgeting is going to say, oh, well, even what we approved, we have more money to expend to some of these organizations or put toward capital investment than we really thought we would.
Not only that, the $7,500 assumes that each organization or each applicant has qualifying expenses. If they come to us and say, we've only got $4,500 in qualified expenses, well, you've awarded us $7,500. Well, we cut you a check for $4,500. We're $3,000 to the good. So, and Mr. Williamson, we've laid out a lot of those rules and stipulations within the application, which we'll incorporate into the policy. That way we have kind of one document that references the other. But that's actually going to trim down a lot as well, because there are expenses that council, I want to use the word allowed, but applicants used money for ineligible expenses in the past. And that will cease to happen moving forward. It gives us a better control of our own finances. And we can make those investments in the town, just like we did earlier tonight. Any other questions, Mr. Mayor?
So since everyone just heard this, oh, you have a question, Mr. Fry?
What typically is my question is, this is, no one has seen that before just now, and it's just a handout that we got. Is this voted on to be put into practice totally tonight?
That's what I was just getting ready to ask the committee members, if we could postpone this till January 6th when we have our training session.
The only issue with that is if the application period opens in January 1, we've missed our mark.
And we can move that
a little bit.
Yeah.
I mean, I can't speak for Mr. Brock. I can speak for 50%. I have no problem. It dovetails nicely with the January 6th.
Well, that'll give us time to fix the application, take that stuff out that Councilman Griffith said, put it into the policy. We'll have the clean copy with the amendments.
Our marching orders, we try to adhere to them, and I don't want to understate how hard it was to get to these numbers. And I also don't want to understate, the subcommittee strongly feels like we have got to do this in 23-24. And I've heard from a planning commissioner, from a citizen to a planning commissioner, and now to a councilman, these are hard decisions, and when you're up against it and applications have already been turned in, is not the time to do it. We just struggle with doing that. So I think we can line everything up. Brock, unless you object, January 6th is fine with me.
It can't go past January 6th. We'll have to have
one way or the other.
We have to have a vote. Yes,
one way or the other.
We told you at the last meeting that we would bring a policy tonight, and we've done that. And like Councilman McKendrick said, if we miss it, then we're one more year worse off. And now we've almost effectively bound ourselves to a capital project with land procurement.
We could still, we
could walk away. We could walk away. It'd be a bad move, but we could walk away.
I certainly don't want you to think the earlier vote bound you to a yes vote. It did not.
No, it doesn't.
I understand.
It doesn't.
And the last thing is, this is a policy. No two council can pass this with a vote. So January 6th, if it's voted up or down, if it's voted up, it goes into effect. If it's voted down, subcommittee goes back to work. The one caution from me, because I think this is a council vote. This is a policy that Carol's going to implement. And I'm going to say this with 100% respect. Phil, for you, for soccer, for rodeo, we as a council have to be careful about outside noise and being swayed because we were violating what the state statute said. We have to fix the violations. Now that we know about them, we can't ignore them. That's my pause of waiting till January 6th. A policy for the town is just that. It's a policy. And we're going to push it. Even 2 weeks. And my phone's going to ring. I fully anticipated my phone ringing after we did this. And so will yours. But I'm good with waiting till the 6th.
Or we could pass something and amend it. Again, it's a policy. It's a living, breathing document.
Yeah.
Well, if you're good with the 6th, I mean, if we pass it on the 6th, I mean, it's,
And it would give us time to have conversations, just like I put Phil on the spot. Said, how does it sit with you? Well, he doesn't know how it sits with you. He's still in shell shock.
And when he talks to his board.
Absolutely.
But Councilman McKendrick and Councilman Brock, I want to thank you both because, you did a yeoman's job. And this, just because I might disagree with some of the funding issues doesn't mean I disagree with the policy. I mean, I respect you both, and I think you've done a yeoman's job putting this together. But as you said too, Councilman McKendrick, phones are going to start ringing, and if we get a chance to speak to people between now and January 6th, then we have a vote.
I'm good with that.
Thank you, Councilman Ballman.
Any other comments?
Implementation. We're December 19th, and you're talking January 6th and February 28th. According to current statutes, everything has to be in place.
Well, it's all policy, and policy can be revised very simply. This would not go into effect until July 1, 2023.
Submissions don't have to go in February.
We can move those dates. It's a policy. It's not by statute.
I'd plan on taking a couple of days off.
Well deserved.
Well, we want to see what the application looks like too, so we're going to make changes to it. So I don't want to give you the wrong application yet.
So my understanding that the funding is for events held within the town limits of Blythewood. That's what we're saying.
I didn't say that. Somebody brought that up, but no, I didn't say that.
Okay, so it can go to any agency anywhere. Not within the limits.
As long as you meet our requirements, right? And you're stimulating tourism and all that.
Right. Because right now we're doing Ridgeview, so they're not in the town limits. Well, they may ask, put it that way. And our kids go there too as well. I just want to get clarification. Okay. So
absolutely.
They don't have to be within the town limits, these events.
Any other comments? Action. We have a motion to postpone, finish the revision, finish the application, and then bring it back to a vote on January 6th. I'll make a motion that we postpone it January 6th after the revisions have been made.
All right, second.
And probably motion second to postpone the policy, H tax, A tax, L tax policy until January 6th. Any discussion? All in favor, signify by saying aye. Aye.
Aye.
All opposed? The ayes have it. Motion carries. Thank you. Part C tonight, discussion and approval of the allocation of 30% state accommodations tax funds to Experience Columbia, South Carolina. Mr. Williams.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. The town has some additional 30% SAT funds in this year's budget that can be allocated to regional tourism organizations. Our marketing manager, Anya Kosum, and I have met with Experience Columbia SC, which is a regional tourism organization, to do some additional marketing for the town using more digital billboards, website banner ad, some geofencing and retargeting that Ms. Kosum can explain further, that will serve ads to people as they travel near Blythewood, and other items as described in the proposal included in your packet. The total amount is $75.61 that can be paid from this year's budget, as well as some funds from the previous year's budget that need to be spent. The State Accommodations Tax Committee approved this request on November 30th, and Ms. Kosum is here and can answer any specific questions you have about the proposal.
Mr. Mayor.
Yeah, please.
Mr. Williamson, this does not impact our contractual obligation with Lake Murray, does it? We're not terminating that contract, are we?
No, we have multiple. We can spend it. We're not obligated to solely.
You're not obligated to use one DMO. You can use multiple.
Yes.
Okay.
Experience Columbia is who we used before.
That's my understanding. But this is more than just an ad or something. This is actually working together with them, similar to how we do with capital city like Murray Country. But they have different reach in different regions of the state, and seem to be pretty effective. So I think it's worthwhile to work with both of them to see which one works best, and maybe continue to have that with both partnership with both of them.
Mr. Mayor. So I think this is a good opportunity to see what both of these DMOs can do. I think it's a unique opportunity because both of them are working with us at the same time.
Right.
So I don't have a problem supporting that with a motion if there is no other discussions, Mr. Mayor.
Is that a motion?
Maybe you had something. I was looking your way and you was.
No, I'm waiting on you to make a motion so I can make a second. We can keep going.
Okay, got it. No problem. Mr. Mayor, I make a motion to approve as recommended by town staff.
Second.
Probably motion seconded to approve the allocation remaining of the 30% state accommodations to Experience Columbia. Any discussion? All in favor, signify by saying aye. Aye. All opposed? The ayes have it. Thank you. Part D, discussion and approval of the bids to rewrite the town's land usage ordinance and to create an annexation policy. Mr. Williams.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. This was part of the budget that was approved. It's always good to follow up an approval of a comprehensive plan with to make sure that our land usage ordinance matches what we've just approved. So in October, we advertised a request for proposals to rewrite the town's land usage ordinance, which includes the entire zoning ordinance as well as the land development ordinance, and to create an annexation policy for the town to use as we plan for future growth. On November 30th, we received 4 strong proposals, and both the Planning Commission Chair and I have reviewed and scored them, and we both recommend that Council interview our top 2 consultants, Kendi Keast Collaborative and Stewart, sometime in January in order to make a final decision at the January 23rd Town Council meeting.
Which 2 did you recommend?
We both recommended Kendi Keast Collaborative and Stewart.
Mr. Mayor. Councilman Bauman, that was the Simpsonville, South Carolina. Kendi and Keast is out of Simpsonville, South Carolina. I know you and I spoke briefly about these.
Yes, sir.
And Carol, I'm sure you're extending our appreciation to all 4 of these for submitting these. This was not necessarily the weekend reading I wanted, but just chock full of information. And my top 2 were just what you recommended. I don't know in what order they scored for you, but those were my top 2 as well. So I concur with that recommendation.
January 6th or at the January or special call after that.
I can talk with them and see what their schedule is, but I would think some kind of they can be via Zoom potentially, or we can work on flexibility. We can try to do that, so that would be a Friday following goal setting potentially. Is that? Well, we'd have everyone here, and they can try them and work for that. That's agreeable.
I'm taking the whole day off anyways.
Mm-hmm.
Assuming you all are.
Yeah, I'll be here all day.
Okay.
See if they can do that.
Oh, awesome.
The only suggestion I have is that if we're all going to be present, they need to be present. Zoom doesn't work so great when we're all sitting in here versus on our own individual computers. So.
Mm-hmm.
We'd have to be here. Three of us would have to be here.
Yeah, the council would need to be here, but they, okay.
We have a motion to enter into interviews with those two candidates.
Motion.
Second. Been probably motion seconded to schedule the two top recommended town staff nominees for the usage ordinance and annexation policy. Any further discussion? All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Ayes have it. Part E tonight, a second reading, discussion and approval of ordinance 2022.016, amending the town's code of ordinances to adopt current building codes.
Mr. Mayor, I actually need to make one correction. If you look at the ordinance for this, and then go to the next. If you scroll down and you look at the list of codes to be adopted, number 2, 2021 South Carolina Residential Code, and then underneath it says Appendix Q, tiny houses. The intent is to, and I've talked with the building official and our town attorney to get this clarified, but 2021 South Carolina Residential Code, the intent is to adopt that in its entirety, and in addition to that, one appendix, which is Appendix Q, tiny houses. And so I just want to clarify that's not just Appendix Q. So to amend that, I want to say 2021 South Carolina Residential Code and Appendix Q, tiny houses.
Other than that, Mr. Williamson, there are no changes?
Correct.
And then I'll make a motion to approve ordinance 2022.016 as amended.
Second. There are probably motion and second to approve the second reading, ordinance 2022.016 as amended. Any further discussion? All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Ayes have it. Second reading passes. Part F, a second reading, discussion and approval of ordinance 2022.017, amending section 155.515 of the Town's Code of Ordinances to establish a new fee for commercial plan review.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. There have been no changes to this ordinance since first reading.
Make a motion to approve ordinance 2022.017 as presented.
Second. Probably motion second to approve the second reading of ordinance 2022.017. Any further discussion? All in favor, signify by saying aye. Aye. All opposed? The ayes have it. Second reading passes. Section 9 tonight, open citizen comments. Anyone wishing to speak? Thank you for those who came tonight and spoke. Seeing none, we'll move to item 10, adjournment. So moved. Probably motion seconded to adjourn tonight's meeting. Any discussion?
Yeah, just one more thing.
Please, Councilman Ross.
Just before we go, to everybody here and everybody's at home, if you have any questions for any of us, pick up the phone, send us an email. We'll write back. We will call you back. I know there was some questions about what was presented tonight, and some people maybe hesitate to contact one of us, but please do. We're happy to answer your questions. That's all I have, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you. All in favor? Aye. By saying aye. All opposed? The ayes